on, Billy. This was your idea.
No, not no hole in the ground was my idea. Yeah. Yeah, sure, man. Come on, make up your mind. Because you're either going to crawl down in that hole or you're going to shoot me in the back. So what does the book say, bozo?
What's going on?
Those are Minuteman missiles.
Like a test, sort of. Like a warning?
They're on their way to Russia. They take about 30 minutes to reach their target.
So do theirs, right?
Missile warning, this is Beale. Confidence is high. I repeat, confidence is high. Roger, we've got 32 targets in track and 10 impacting points. I want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Roger, understand. Major Reinhardt, we have a massive attack against the U.S. at this time. ICBMs. Numerous ICBMs. Roger, understand. Over 300 missiles inbound now.
Stay right up here for a while, sure. I think you better go downstairs, folks. Please. Gotta go. Downstairs, come on.
Come on, baby, don't die on me now. Oh.
duty calls.
Is this it?
This is it. Hello, sir.
Well, hello, Simon. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How's Madeline?
Fine, sir. How's it going?
Well, I expect the weather to break by 05:30. Oppenheimer and Fermi have been on a horn to meteorology all night.
Look pretty nervous.
Don't they, though? How about some coffee and a donut?
Certainly.
Peters? Groves? Coffee? You know Lieutenant Commander Anderson?
General?
Anderson. You're infusing, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me something? Is that contraption out there going to go off?
Oh, it'll go off, sir. I only hope it'll never be used.
If it works, it'll damn well be used.
If we don't have to invade Honshu, it'll save at least 500,000 American lives.
And even more Japanese.
General, what's the latest?
Weather's still lousy, Albie. But I've given the word to go. We're rolling.
That's the best news I've heard all night. Could we have just a minute? Sam, you want to tell the General what you just told me? Excuse us.
Right.
General Peters.
Enrico. All right, Dr. Fermi, now there's a man with a strange sense of humor.
How's that?
They say he's actually taking bets as to whether this thing sets the atmosphere on fire and incinerate the Earth. How about that?
General, nobody knows exactly what this thing will do. Not Oppenheimer, and not Fermi.
All observers will kneel in the bunkers, back to the blast. Close your eyes. Cover your eyes with your hands. Once you become aware of the blast flash, you may stand up and turn around. Shield your eyes at all times with the protective glasses provided to you.
0 minus 45 seconds. Automatic firing sequence engaged and counting.
0 minus 40 seconds. 0 minus 35 seconds.
0 minus 30 seconds. 0 minus 25 seconds. 0 minus 20 seconds.
0 minus 15 seconds. 0 minus 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2, 1, 0.
Shatterer of Worlds.
Hello, Warrior Forgot 13 here. I hope everybody's been doing good. I hope everybody's continuing to prep. You are now in the bottom of the 9th inning, 2 strike, 2 out, nobody on. If what is happening around the world doesn't hit home yet, that you need to prep right now, it's already too late, but it's never too late. The food supply is dwindling, the money supply will dwindle real soon, and all hell is breaking loose. So much so that their little scheme of a fake pandemic virus to kill most of the population of the world did not work. Like I told you, that they would soon need a cozy little nuclear war, which they are setting up right now to do, to finally bring about that depopulation. It is in the Bible. The Lord said 1/3 of the world will burn. And they are all jockeying for position right now, as I will show you in this video in a little bit, as to the things and events and things that NATO is doing and Russia is doing. And therefore, all of it put together, we find ourselves at 100 seconds to midnight. 100 seconds to midnight. The invention of atomic weapons is the most evil, stupidest, moronic, idiotic thing ever created by mankind. Oppenheimer said, and you read his quote, "I am become death, destroyer of worlds." Those idiots, some of them did know what they were doing, but as you soon saw in the clip of the movie that I put in there, most of the ones at the lower levels didn't know what they were doing and didn't really wish that they would succeed with those experiments, and they did succeed with those experiments. And then therefore, over 70 years later, we find ourselves at 100 seconds to midnight. Most of you might not know what that means, and I'll explain to you right here. What that means is, and what you saw in the thumbnail and what you saw in the picture here, is called the Doomsday Clock of the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. The Doomsday Clock of Atomic Scientists came into existence in 1947, 2 years after the first atomic bombs were dropped on Japan, the only time that any type of nuclear weapons have been used against humans, and therefore this is why the satanic government of the United States will pay and is paying here. But not the elites yet. The idiots that work for the elites are the ones that are going to end up paying. And this is therefore why you must prep as best you can. You must prep with everything that you have right now. Because everything's running out, everything will run out, and they will soon bring about a cozy little nuclear war. The attack sequence that you saw in the beginning of this video is from the TV movie ABC presented in 1983 called The Day After. And I have mentioned this movie before, and it was a very high impact movie. I mean, we were at the height of the Cold War in the 80s. That could happen. That almost did happen in 1983 when Reagan got shot. And so when ABC released that movie, I mean, all of us that saw it, the next day at school, it was really calm and quiet. And I mean, I could tell everyone had seen this. And in every class, we were discussing the movie. And then The Reagan years happened and prosperity happened, and supposedly we won the Cold War and we forgot about it. Well, now we're being zapped back, and again, we are being brought to 100 seconds to midnight. Again, the doomsday clock, all of this has to do with the doomsday clock. The doomsday clock of the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists was created in 1947 by some of the original scientists that worked on the Manhattan Project, aka the atomic bomb, and how they regretted ever having taken part in that stupid endeavorment, that they actually knew that one day man would destroy himself. And so all of them originally got together and made the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists to try to advise governments and teach people to never use these things again. But they also made the clock, the doomsday clock. And the doomsday clock starts somewhere right before 15 minutes before. I believe that the highest it's ever been was 17 minutes to midnight. And that happened in 1991 when the ex-Soviet Union dissolved finally and, supposedly became a good guy, which is all bullshit because it's all a plan and these people do things in increments of 20, 30 years and what have you, what have you. And so the clock was moved at that point to 17 minutes to midnight. The clock was designed by the atomic scientists to show us how close we were to our own destruction, to the extinction of the human race. And the clock has never been closer than it stands today in 2022. The clock was actually moved to 100 seconds to midnight in January of 2022. The reason being because they foresaw the conflict coming with Russia and Ukraine. Henceforth, it's all been planned. And therefore, the doomsday clock was moved to 100 seconds to midnight. Midnight being the witching hour, 0 hour, ground zero. When the exchange would happen, like the one you witnessed in the beginning of this video between America, its allies, and the Russian country, federation, and its allies, China included. And so therefore, you must put all of that into perspective because we really do stand at 100 seconds to midnight. And therefore, this is why you must continue to prep. My mother and my family are now really seeing it. It's really hitting home now that I've been right all my life. But just as they're finally waking up from their zombie trance, they're going back into another zombie trance, one of panic and running around like a chicken without a head. Because now they're seeing that we're 100 seconds to midnight. And the more things get bleaker, the more calmer I get. And my guys are like, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm going to tell you. I've always said, the next time the FBI or the CIA comes, we're going to fight it out to the end. This was your fault, stupid motherfuckers. Turn around and arrest all of your superiors because you're going to cook in this motherfucker with us. This is why I'm so calm, because I'm prepared to fight you to the death, and death is death. Is death. I'm going to die if you shoot me, and I'm going to die if I get nuked, and so therefore, get killed anyway, like Mr. Miyagi used to say. So I'm cool, calm, and collected. The story is coming true every minute. There is no doubt left. Not even the Satanists can doubt it. They know the Lord is coming back. There will be hell to pay. But if I live past the first blast, we are coming after you, CIA. We're coming after you, alphabet agencies. We know where you are, and we are going to fucking put you to death in the most grotesque way for being part of this and enforcing this on the fucking side of the Satanists, and I don't give a fuck. Get killed anyway. You come for me, we're going to fight it out to the end, and even if you kill me now, someone will come, whoever survives. The deal is already made. The ball is in motion. You can't stop it, even if you kill 100 of us. over thousands know where you're at, and we're coming to get you. I've always said, if one city gets nuked here, if one, now let alone this city, because then I'll get vaporized. I'll get vaporized, and it won't matter to me, but someone will still come. But if one city gets nuked, I don't give a fuck who did it. I don't care if Putin fucking fell and slipped and pushed the red button and it fucking launched 100 fucking, well, I don't care. I don't care if you fucking slipped and you fucking stuck the joystick up your ass and it fucking fired out. I don't care. I don't care. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't give a fuck if Osama bin Laden and all of the Allahs fucking blow a nuke up. If one city gets nuked for whatever reason, we're going into action. And we're not stupid. I'm not stupid. I have a plan how to proceed. I'm not going to just go cuckoo. And we know who we're going to come get. We know how we're going to do it. So we're going into action, just so you know, motherfuckers. Just so you know. Because you're going to annihilate us anyway and get killed anyway. And so we're going to get killed with you. We're going to kill a lot of you with us. Fuck you. And that's the way it is. Nevertheless, people, everything's looking bleak. They're cutting your food supply. They're cutting everything they can before this last hurrah. Remember the saying, from the eternal sea he rises, creating man to fight war. He makes man fight and fight till man exists no more. This is their depopulation scheme for Satan. You must stop joining the military. Don't join the military. There's still idiots volunteering to go over there into the meat grinder. Again, and I'm going to show you in this video, atrocities are being committed by both sides. I don't care. Am I for Putin and Russia and China? Fuck no. Am I for Biden and all the fucking satanic government of the United States and all the Satanists? Fuck no. I'm for the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm for the glory of the Lord Jesus Christ. So we're committing Sun Tzu on you. Let your enemies fight and devour of each other to weaken. When the smoke clears, and there's going to be smoke, as you can see, nukes, we'll step in and mop up. I may not live to see it. But when I say we, I mean the forces of the Lord. The forces that are going to be here to equalize and to administer the wrath, because you deserve the wrath. And that's just the way it is. Stop. Stop volunteering. Show this video to everybody. I never used to say that before. To everybody. Do not join the military. Supposedly, Putin signed a decree that he's going to start conscripting people. And here, they're going to bring the draft. Fuck the draft. The moment that starts, go into action everywhere. Why are you going to go and waste your life for Satan? You're fighting for Satan. If you want to fight right here. Turn around and fight the evil satanic motherfuckers of the FBI, CIA, ATF, NSA, and even the military. If they back them, fuck them. Fight right here. This is where you need to fight. Not in some far-off land, in a fucking satanic playground that Satan has developed so that it can just swallow up lives. Fucking idiots. And for those of you morons that are going over there, I'm going to go over there and fight for freedom. You're a fucking pussy. You won't fight here for freedom. You were fucking locked up for 2 years, bitch slapped. You were masked. You were told what you could do and what you could not do. Look at New York. They were dragging people out of the subway and beating the fuck out of them. Not here. Here we fucking put cops in the fucking funeral home. We fucking bitch slapped the fucking National Guard because they're my guys anyway. We stood toe-to-toe with them. They had their M16s ready to go, and we stood toe-to-toe with them, daring them to fucking shoot one. And it'll go off. But everywhere else, you were getting bitch slapped, and you were getting fucking pummeled, and put in your house, and your businesses were getting burned down, and if you fought back, then you got arrested. Fight right here. You don't need to go fight for some fucking bullshit that Satan developed to fucking eat you up in a meat grinder. If you really want to fight, stop being a pussy. Fight right here. Let's go. A lot of people always ask me, Joe, why don't you attack? Because my freedom really wasn't effective. I was at the beach. I was going on dates. It's normal. Everything was normal here. Yes, there were some idiots wearing their masks because they're scared. And there were most of the businesses here would put the mask fucking thing so that the officials would say, "Oh yeah, they're complying," and they wouldn't even impose it. They wouldn't even enforce the fucking thing. So it didn't really affect me. But that's not the reason. The reason being is that we are free. Nobody's fucking with us. But I'm willing to fight. But I want the big boys to go. Like the Michigan militia that numbers about 35,000. They own tanks and helicopters. Let's go. Enough is enough already. Let's just go. Start it off in Michigan. Go to the fucking Capitol once again. Drag that bitch the fuck out and cut her fucking head off and and then if any cops come in military, shoot. Shoot their fucking ass. You're going to get killed anyway. They're going to annihilate you. They're going to nuke. Shoot. Let's go. One city, satanic government of the United States. That's all. I'm not going to say no more. I'm a man of action. I don't like to just fucking yap. One city. We know where you're all at, and we'll go into action, and that's all there is to it. We'll even fucking declare war officially, motherfucker. For all the rest of you that feel like you have to do something because you're a zombie of the fucking satanic Rockefeller media that's telling you, spewing out the fucking propaganda is thick on both sides. It's so thick, I mean, fuck. It should be called BBW propaganda. That's how thick it is. It's bullshit. But nevertheless, for those of you morons that want to go fucking volunteer to fight over there. There was a couple of dumbasses that went. And I'm not going to put every video here, but I'm going to put some videos. They came back. Some of the idiots that went to Afghanistan and Iraq, where the U.S. had superiority on weapons and controlled the sky, they came back and they're like, fuck, this is a real war. I mean, they were fucking shelling and I almost got killed. Yeah, motherfucker. The Russians are a real army. And don't buy this propaganda that they're losing or don't buy the propaganda until you get there because these motherfuckers went there. These motherfuckers went over there and it wasn't what they thought. It wasn't Afghanistan. It wasn't Iraq. It was what's going to happen here, motherfucker. There's exactly what's happening over there is what's going to happen here. At least with my people. We're not going to fucking pussyfoot around and we're going to give you coordinated fucking tactical fucking battle, motherfucker. Because I've been practicing forever. And I'm going to show you later on in this video. I'm going to show you some of my skill and what's in here, motherfucker. But nevertheless, people, do not join the military for any reason. And when they come to try to fucking conscript you in there, fight, shoot. You're going to go off and get killed anyway? Get killed here and fight. And trust me, they won't. The first 5 motherfuckers you fucking blast that come to try to fucking enforce it, the other motherfuckers are going to say, fuck no. That's how we do it in LA. I show you, cops get killed. And the other cops don't, they're not Rambo. Fuck no. They know that bullet can go in there and fucking end their fucking life in no time flat, so they don't want to do that shit. Do the same thing. Listen to this guy. This guy went over there and listen to what's happening over there to the volunteers. Because they didn't have adequate weapons. They didn't even have enough ammo for everybody. And they were trying to do the whole World War II Soviet tactic of sending you in almost without weapons. And if you fucking ranked out, they were threatening to court-martial you and kill you. Watch.
So for any of you who are wondering what is going on, alright, we were part of the Georgian National Legion, the 102nd Ukrainian Territorial Defense, okay? Our base got fucked up, the base right next to us got fucked up, Americans, British, tons of British dead, alright? They're not saying nothing, they're counting our dead as their dead. They're trying to send us to Kiev with no fucking weapons, no kit, no fucking plates. The people who are lucky enough to get weapons are only getting magazines with like 10 fucking rounds, okay? When they wanted to send us to Kiev, we said no. Our whole group, a bunch of Americans, Canadians, British. So they told us we had to get the fuck out or they were going to shoot us in the back. Alright? So me, this British guy, and another American, we fucking hid in the back of an ambulance to get out. We got to the border, and it was a whole nother mess. When you get to the border, anyone who has kit, anyone who has any military shit, they're fucking pulling you out of the line and they're sending you back to the front. We got dropped off about 5 clicks from the fucking, from the border, and we walked. And we get to the border, and this humanitarian group with a bunch of ex-SF veterans from England pull us to the side and say, you need to get, like, pulled us out and fucking, like, hit us. And they were like, you need to dump all your kit. They're pulling people out, cutting up passports, sending them back. So we dumped our shit. We got, like, in all of our fucking, we got in, like, Red Cross vests, and they had, like, fucking humanitarian passes to get us through the Ukrainian border. People need to stop coming here. It's a trap, and they're not letting you fucking leave. The best way to leave is like in a Vic or a car or something. People who get on by vehicle have a better chance of hiding their fucking kit in the back, doing whatever the fuck they can, but do not try to leave Ukraine on foot if you're a volunteer. It's a mess, and it's a trap, and I have multiple people who can confirm this story for me.
And that's just a little bit of the reality that the morons who volunteer for this meat grinder for Satan bullshit encounter when they go over there. That's the real truth right there. You have to understand, the satanic government of the United States and Britain and all of these other governments work for Satan. So why would you trust, after having thrown you into wars for no purpose for 20 years against Afghanistan and Iraq, through lies and bullshit that they created from 9/11, why would you trust that and go and volunteer to jump into another meat grinder for Satan? Again, the Lord is truth, Satan is lies and evil and deceit. So when Satan talks, believe 180 degrees of what Satan is saying. So idiots are volunteering because the media is showing ex-veterans and all these people volunteering and dropping everything and getting to Ukraine however they can. Again, what is the goal, Joe? The goal is you are the Lord's creation in the Lord's image. And so Satan wants to destroy as much of the Lord's creation that was made in the Lord's image as much as it can before he himself is destroyed at Armageddon. So the goal is depopulation. Who does the Rockefeller satanic media belong to? The satanic Rockefellers. Who are the Rockefellers for? Satan. For the satanic government of the United States, they help run it because they're the North American Illuminati family, and they are the Satanists in charge, and they're the ones telling you through their media to do the right thing and go over there and help these people out against the Russians, and they don't give a shit. Again, from the eternal sea he rises, making man fight war. He makes man fight and fight until man exists no more. Do not join the military. Do not volunteer. It's 10 times worse than this video. I have hundreds of them. I'm not going to put them on here because I'm sure they're everywhere, and all the big boys are showing them, and I'm not going to do it. Atrocities are being committed on both sides. So there's no good guy here. Again, I'm not for fucking Putin, and I'm not for fucking Biden, and I'm not for NATO. Fuck them both. They play for the New World Order. Putin goes and fucking kisses fucking Klaus Schwab's ass on a regular basis. Putin is an ex-World Economic Forum fuckhead. And we all know who Biden and all these Satanists are. They work for Satan. It's the same shit. They couldn't kill you with a bullshit virus and bullshit poisonous vaccine, so now they're going to depopulate the world with a cozy little nuclear war, and it's coming. It's not going to come. It's going to come. You better be prepared. Atrocities are being committed on both sides. Let's listen to Brother Nathaniel right here, and he's going to show you some of the atrocities. And watch, pay close attention.
If you get the surgical
Move over, Dr. Fauci. CNN has a new darling, Volodymyr Zelensky. Turning fact into fiction, Jew-run CNN turns a fag into a champ. Here's our Jew boy in high heels and leather pants. As Zelensky squeezes ass, swings his ass, pats ass, and swivels his ass, Jacob Tapperman of CNN seems to like his ass.
And we're back now with our breaking news. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky talked to CNN today. He did it from a bunker in Kyiv.
Well, the Jews already bought him a luxury condo in Miami Beach.
He talked about the country's determination to fight off the Russian invaders, and he talked about his message to Americans and to President Biden.
Oh, they'll get along just fine, one pervert to another. Fact is, Russia is not engaged in an invasion. Russia's engaged in a strategic military operation to protect Russian-speaking Ukrainians from genocide and guarding its own borders from CIA Mossad-funded biowarfare. The fight is over, Jakey boy. Russia has decimated most of Ukraine's combat vehicles, much of its rocket systems, and most of its air defense and tactical missile systems. It's now a mop-up job.
I've already turned to some foreign leaders with this request. I believe that leaders must support democratic states of the world who are keen to defend such principles.
Well, that leaves Ukraine out. When Vicki Nolan, born Nadelman, stopped handing out cookies in Kyiv, she launched a full-scale coup that replaced its democratically elected president, Yanukovych, with a Jew puppet she nicknamed Yaks. But the big mocker Jew is Ihor Kolomoisky. He's an infamous Ukrainian oligarch who already fled to Israel, who funded his fellow Jew boy Zelensky from day one, beginning with his TV show, Servant of the People.
Ukrainian actor Volodymyr Zelensky has achieved fame portraying a president in this TV show, which is broadcast on a channel owned by a man backing his real-life presidential campaign. Billionaire Ihor Kolomoisky has provided security, lawyers and vehicles for Zelensky.
The commie Jew Kolomoisky fully funded Zelensky's campaign. Kolomoisky, along with the CIA Mossad via Nuland's orders, gave tons of oligarchic bucks to the Banderite neo-Nazi Azov Brigade. Can you believe it's the Jews who funded the sadistic neo-Nazi murderers who are now in the crosshairs of Putin's imminent war crimes tribunal? Putin knows who these Banderite bastards are who shoot Russian POWs in the legs while starving them, some dying of shock when loaded off the prison trucks. Count on it. Putin will make haste to bring them to his war crimes tribunal for execution. They're already in custody by Russian anti-terrorism forces. The Azov Brigade has seen its last days in Mariupol. The last significant remnant, some 3,000 of these murderers, are now hiding out at the immense fortress-like Azovstal Iron and Steel Works in Mariupol, southeast of Kyiv. The Russians merely have to block its exits, and the scoundrels are sitting ducks. Good luck. Once the Russian Air Force rains down its thermobaric bombs on the Banderites, their bodies will be turned into cock. But it's a whole new day for Russia and the expanding international community joined to it. China, Iran, the Caucasus in the center of the Eurasian Economic Bloc, and the entire global South. I mean, come on, folks. Russia is hardly isolated. While the Jew rides the unipolar Western beast, with Zelensky tied to its tail, a star rises in the east. A multipolar world with Eurasia at its core emerges, while the sole superpower hegemon fades. A clash of civilizations has been unleashed into America's vassal state Ukraine, where the dying West lies at Russia's feet. I hear the cannons roar and the church bells ring.
So as you can see, everything is not as it seems. The Ukrainian so-called president, puppet, is nothing but some transvestite actor boy who works for the Satanists. And again, I'm not saying that I'm for Putin. I'm not for Putin either. But atrocities are being committed on both sides. But I had to put that on there because the world is like really extremely pro-Ukrainian. And like I said in the video past, the Ukrainian people are being sacrificed here. It's not their fault. They do need to fight with all they can to first oust the invaders that are coming to do them in. And then I hope they wake up and oust the fucking satanic government that threw them into this meat grinder. As we must do it here, as every country must do it. Stop volunteering for the government militaries and form your own paramilitary groups and fight within your countries. The enemy of humanity is not the Russian people or the Ukrainian people or the South African people or the African people or the Chinese people. The enemy of humanity sits in the capital of the government buildings of every single country because they're all in on it. That is who the enemy of humanity is. Again, when this fight starts, I'm not going to fight for fucking Constitution, piece of shit flag, or any of that fucking thing. I'm fighting for the Lord's glory and for humanity. That's what I'm for Team Humanity. And so we will not be duped. And the moment that they try to enforce conscription, meaning the draft, or one city gets nuked, whichever comes first, we're just going to go off into action. Because we don't have any choice anyway. We're going to die anyway. So might as well die some of you with us. CIA, FBI, motherfuckers. We're coming to get you. We know where you're at. Even if you kill me today, tomorrow, I live with no fear. Even if you do me in, the plan will trigger off. And someone's coming for you already. And I'm not going to say who. Not yet. But at one point, I'm going to put out a list on this video of agents named by name and where the fuck you were seen last. That's how good we got it. Trust me, I don't fear you. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, you can put one right here and 10 million will come back to you. And then even if you kill me, I'll be right back, motherfucker. I'll be right back, and then I'll be unkillable, and I'll fucking gut your fucking family out, and I'll feed you your fucking family, you motherfucker. I hate your fucking guts, because you work for Satan, and you must die a horrible death, and that's it. End of discussion. I don't care if you kill me. I don't care. I sleep like a baby. The moment you come officially for me, a lot of you are coming with me, so be it. I don't care. I don't give a shit. But people, understand this. They're dwindling their food supply as we speak right now. And I'm going to show you a little bit later in this video. I've been stocking up as much as I can on everything I can for the dwellings where I'm at. I'm not worried about my rally points because at my rally points there is over a ton of food at each rally point. Each rally point has a swimming pool which becomes drinking water, and then we have water filters that filter the water to 0.01 microns like the military, and we have portable filters. And I'm trying to do everything I can to get the last part of Symbology 2 and Symbology 3 up, But before that happens, I'm going to make another prepper video because some of the prepper videos I made went down with my YouTube account, and a lot of people are asking me, and I'm going to give you simple ways that you can defeat this system. The first way, do this now. You're looking at it. It's falling apart. Your money's going to be worthless anyway. Stop paying taxes. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you have kids. I don't care if you're worried about your business. Stop paying taxes. Stop. Because if you really want to give the fucking satanic system a blow, stop feeding it. You're feeding it, and then they use that money to pay the money. They use that money to pay the salary of the cops that come and harass you and fucking drag you to jail when you're not wearing a mask or enforce the bullshit mandates. It wasn't until it affected them, when they had to get jabbed and vaccinated, that they started protesting and breaking ranks. Fuck that. All the other motherfuckers in uniform, start arresting your fucking senior fucking officers and go all the way and run the gambit. And then let's see public court martials, public courts, and public executions. That's what has to happen. Or, fuck you. You're one of them and you're an enemy to the death. It wasn't until the cops started getting affected by the mandates themselves that they fucking broke ranks. So fuck that. Stop paying taxes and stop fucking being in love with the satanic system. You're either with the Lord or you're with the satanic system. There is no in between. You cannot be loving, if you love your slavery to this system, you're going to have to stand in front of the Lord and give account as to why you backed a system for Satan. He's going to ask you, and oh, Father, I didn't have a choice. Yes, you did. You had a choice. I've been fighting the system as soon as I could understand the system. I've been fighting it all my life, so much so that their agents came for me. And I'm still here. NI agents. That should tell you something. I was in your lair, in your complete control, and you couldn't do it. Can you imagine now? Oh, hell no. Now we're turning the tables. And it's going to be open season on you. Real soon. And I'm not worried about it. I sleep like a baby. I hear your dumbasses that sit. You send people and they sit at the bar and it's like you're stupid. You deem yourselves like all fucking badass and you're trained. You're stupid. Because we listen to the conversations you have. We have ways to do that. And we hear all the little code words you talk and all of this shit. And we have people having coffee with you. We have people patting you on the back. So we know your little code words. Anyway. It's coming, people. Nuclear war is coming. Don't think it's not going to come. Nothing's going to stop this. You're looking at them setting it up. The virus didn't kill you, so they're going to bank now on a cozy little nuclear war. If you want to survive it, the only way you're going to survive it is to fight now and fight here. And I don't mean with cardboard and signs and go protest. No, that's not going to... I mean... Put your fucking gear on and then use it. Don't do like those Texas boys that went to that bar and dressed like Rambo and then 5 fat sausage motherfuckers came without even a fight and took them in. No. You must go into action because it's going to be up to us to stop a nuclear holocaust because they're going full force at it. They're going full force at a nuclear holocaust. There is a channel I've been watching, I just discovered on YouTube. He's very good. They're very good at reporting this stuff. I've double-checked their resources, and they're actual sources that they get their information from, and they're spot on. And I'm going to play a clip here. And then I'm going to link their channel below. They're only on YouTube, and he gives good information and straightforward information and doesn't beat around the bush. Here's Brad from Full Spectrum Survival. That's the name of the channel, Full Spectrum Survival. And he's got good tips about everything, about the nuclear war that's coming, how to prep, stuff like that. I'm going to do a prepper video coming up to help all the newbies and help the people that have forgotten what you can do, even in the case of a nuclear attack. Nevertheless, here's Brad from Full Spectrum Survival telling you about the situation that we're in.
This is going to get very bad very quick. International intelligence agencies are warning that Russia will act quickly in an attack against Finland, or will prepare to if that nation follows through with their decision to join NATO. This is an update of recent developments. At this point, internal and international tracks concerning NATO and a potential membership for Finland have advanced in what they are calling a decisive manner. Finland is bordered to the north by Norway and to the east by Russia, to the south by the Gulf of Finland, to the southwest by Bothnia, and to the northwest by Sweden. A recent NATO poll indicates that 61% of all of the Finnish population are in favor of joining NATO. Only 16% are against, and 20-some% are undecided. The trend of Finnish majority in favor of NATO membership continues among all age groups, professions, and party bases. Out of the 200 MPs, 87 are in favor, 83 unknown. If Finland decides to join NATO, eventually the parliament will approve the decision and Russia will likely act on that decision. Major leaks were released against Russia yesterday, including approximately 200,000 emails hacked from the Russian law firm Capital Legal Services, hacked by Anonymous. They can be found on DDoS Secrets website. Pakistan PM Khan says that a move to remove him from power is a regime change attempt backed or brought by the United States. That information is being brought to you by mainstream media. The Day of Unity between the peoples of Russia and Belarus is marked on April 2nd to celebrate, that was yesterday, to celebrate the establishment of the Union State. We congratulate, they say, the people of Belarus on this day, which is a symbol of the unbreakable bonds of brotherly friendship between our states. You see, Belarus and Russia are one and the same. They are much like America, the United States of America, and Canada. If an act of aggression comes against one, an act of aggression comes against both. So I will not be surprised in the least bit as Belarus joins this multinational war that is going to kick off. I've been watching some images of campsites in the trenches in Ukraine, trenches that are made by Russian soldiers. You see looted chairs and looted goods. You see, to men in war, to women in war, depending on what war is being fought, war is nothing more than a camp. It is a camp in the business of killing. That is what war is. And so we see so much misinformation and so much disinformation, and there is unbelievable atrocities against innocents taking place today in Ukraine. These atrocities, it doesn't matter who did them. They are vile and they are evil. You have people being dragged out of their homes and abused in front of other people. You have people being dragged out of their homes and executed. They are vile and evil acts perpetrated by men and women on the battlefield in some cases. And it doesn't matter who did them. What you need to get ready for, you see, they get so caught up in dividing you that you go, oh, it was Russia. Oh, it was Ukraine. It wasn't Russia. They would never. This is a false flag. It doesn't matter. It's happening to someone. And you need to get ready for it to happen in your city, because only then does it become real to the keyboard warriors who only care about who did it, who did what, who didn't do it. When it happens to your family, then it's real to you. So I have a lot of empathy for all of the innocence that is lost right now in Ukraine, and all of the PTSD that is being created, and the childhood trauma that is being created, and all of the doctors that are seeing young, young females with just massive amounts of trauma. I have a lot of empathy for that, because when it's your sister, you'll care. When it's your mom, you'll care. But because we're on the other side of the world and we go, oh, it wasn't Ukraine, oh, it wasn't Russia, it was a false flag, this is all just media. No, it's happening to someone. And so you need to get ready for it to happen to you. The U.S. will work with allies to transfer Soviet-made tanks to Ukraine. There are reports that among the Russian forces who stayed at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, panic is ensuing because of the received high doses of radiation. The population in Belarus is being advised to avoid contact with troops coming from the Chernobyl zone, according to U.S. officials to Russia. Now, let me just go back to that for a moment. Let me note that there are marked false flag events that happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to happen and they involve nuclear material. So get ready for that next stage. And then the international community to act. We're seeing a huge change with all of the atrocities that are taking place on the battlefield right now. A huge change in sentiment. The very same change that we saw right before and right after Russia moved troops into the Ukrainian country. That change in sentiment is one for the United States of America to do something, for NATO to do something. And so as the call among the populace and as the call among the public says, yes, get in there and do something, your brothers and sisters, moms and dads, your children will be sent off to war to fight. And so we need to not only keep our heads level and keep our heads on straight, we need to also know that multinational war, world war, is getting closer every single day. And how do you get ready for that? Let me know in the comments what you're planning to do, how you're preparing for that. Are you talking with family? Are you deciding how you will react to a draft? You notice how I mentioned that there. Are you deciding how you will react to a draft? Now, I don't want any comments down below because, Big Daddy YouTube won't like that very much if we discuss, those topics. But it's okay to discuss things about how you plan for this world war. Is it food prep? But keep in mind, what happens next? Is it, self-defense prep? Is it first aid prep? Be ready for anything because this world is changing everything. So there are reports now that people are being told to avoid contact with all Russian troops coming out of the Chernobyl zone. According to U.S. officials, Russia wants to take control of Donbass and other regions in Ukraine by early May. Putin, they say, is focused on a May 9th Russian Victory Day. He's preparing to name a general to oversee the conflict in Ukraine. Multiple strikes are being reported in the Ukrainian coastal cities. There are claims that a fuel depot and a number of military positions near the city centers have been struck by Russian 3M54 caliber cruise missiles fired from over the Black Sea. Poland's deputy prime minister is expressing openness to deploying U.S. nuclear weapons on Polish soil. I have seen in the last couple of weeks people at their end. They can no longer handle the stresses of life, whether it's personal health crisis events, the economy, which is taking money away from you and me every single day at the behest of the corporations and the governments that are getting that money. You see, when they raise your prices, they can't also make record profits. If they're only raising your prices because of inflation, they cannot logistically make record profits. And yet that is what's happening today. We are letting them rob us every single day. Now, there are some passive ways and some non-passive ways to get past that. One of those is to grow your own food as much as you can, because every single cherry tomato you grow is one less that you buy from them at corrupt market prices. Every single egg that you have a chicken that lays is one less that you buy from them at prices of marked corruption. Every single thing that you can do, whether it's getting in a car and driving with friends and family, whether it is not going to the movie theater and not buying a new phone and not doing this and not doing that, and instead spending time outside with your friends or your kids or whoever it might be. Do everything that you can, because this is a war for your future, and it will be fought for generations. They are placing your children's children into multi-trillion dollars worth of debt. They will never, ever be able to pay it back, because what they have done is separated the ultra extreme rich, the dumb rich, as I like to say, basically from everybody else. You used to know a millionaire and you used to be like, wow, that's a millionaire. And then now it's like, oh, it's a millionaire. Okay. All right. He only has $3,000 left at the end of the month, or $300 left at the end of the month, because he's just a schmuck like me and he's paying way too many bills at way too high of prices. That millionaire is nothing anymore. So unless you get into the billionaire status, you're a no one, according to the extremely elite. But they have separated that elite from the rest of us. And what's happening is they're going to come to a time where the rest of us mean absolutely nothing. And so if you don't have your own independence, we all celebrate 4th of July in the USA every year. Canada celebrates independence. If we don't celebrate personal independence, it means nothing. You need to be independent from their food production, independent from their power production, independent from their locomotion. You need to be independent from their policing. You need to be independent from everything in every way so that you and your family have personal sustainability. Because the less you need them, the more it hurts them. Let me say that again. The less you need them, the more it hurts them. If you don't need them to grow your food, you don't have to buy it. It hurts their pockets. If you don't need them to give you power, you don't buy it. It hurts their pockets. If you don't need to buy a new car, it hurts their pockets. If you don't need to go see their movie because they told you Tom Cruise looks great for being 173 years old, you no longer need them, and so you hurt them. That is how we win, and that is the only way that we win. Please start working somewhere, doing something right now. The European Union will impose new sanctions on Russia. Let me get back to you again. Poland saying that they're going to deploy U.S. nuclear weapons on Polish soil. This is a recipe for disaster. And I started talking about how people have lost their, they're at their wits' end. They're at the last line in the sand. They just crossed it. They're seeing nothing but red. That's about to be Russia. You have Finland ready to join NATO on one of Russia's sides. You have Poland ready to deploy nuclear weapons right next to Russia. You have the reported theft of nuclear material out of Chernobyl. We are just waiting for that next stage of this to happen. This is an official letter translated from the administration of the Kursk region. It says, in accordance with federal law, and it goes on to name the law, on the state of emergency, on amendments to the code. I'm just kind of skipping around here because it's a little long. The Russian Federation regarding liability for offenses in the field of fuel production and circulation on the market, they impose a limitation that says it decides to set limits on sales of gasoline and diesel fuel for individuals, 15 liters per vehicle from April 2nd onward. What are you going to do when you go down to your local Shell or 7-Eleven or Texaco or Wawa or whatever it might be, and they say, no, I'm sorry, sir, I can't give you more than 5 gallons. But you know it's going to take you 2 fill-ups to get to your family so that you can survive whatever's happening. Think about these things now, because when you need it, it's going to be too late.
And so you see, they are mobilizing for full nuke war. They are mobilizing for full nuke war. Poland is calling for the placement of U.S. intermediate nuclear missiles on their soil, which is at the doorstep of Russia. Somebody's going to fuck up. And this is done on purpose. This is all being done on purpose. But somebody's going to fuck up. Putin's going to push the button. And then you're going to see the exchange like you saw at the beginning of this video take place. So you need to prep right now. But Joe, if we get vaporized, yeah, if we get vaporized, we get fucking vaporized. I'm talking about if you're nowhere near the fucking epicenter of anything and you survive, you're going to need gas masks. You're going to need special clothing that you can make out of lead foil. Things we're going to start showing you in the next video on basic preps that you can have even for a nuclear fallout. Yes, if you get a direct hit, you're going to get vaporized, and that's your ass, and it'll only take a split second, and we didn't have any choice. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you're not in any of the epicenters and you survive, there's still going to be radiation. There's still going to be a need to fucking clear the soil. There's still going to need, because you have children and you have an obligation to them. You just giving up is moronic. And so therefore, we're going to teach you. We will fight to the end. Nuclear or not, we will fight to the end. They know it. We will fight to the end here. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So you have to understand from what Brad was talking about, the food supply is dwindling. They're doing it on purpose right now. And yes, where I'm going to link the video below. later on he talks about gold and crypto, and that's all fine and dandy. But I've always said, in the end, gold is going to be okay for maybe a month or two. And then you can't eat gold and you can't eat silver. So it's going to boil down to three things, ladies and gentlemen. Only three things will be important when the deal happens: food, water, and guns and ammunition, and being able to be organized. Food, water, guns and ammunition, and organization to protect that food and water. Those are the three things that are going to be worth anything. Nothing else after that. You won't care about nothing else. The internet might not even be on for you to do crypto or whatever. So a lot of people are saying right now, you know, get out of debt, pay your debt. No. That's the last thing you want to do. Who are our mortal enemies? The Satanists, the corporations. Who owns the banks? Who's JP Morgan Chase? The Rockefellers and JP Morgan. Who's Wells Fargo? Rothschilds. Yeah, they all are owned by the Satanists. So this is how you do it. You really want to fight and make a dent? Stop worrying about your fucking excellent credit. If you have credit cards right now, buy everything you can right now. Buy your generators, buy your guns, and then don't pay shit. Who gave you that money? The banks, the Satanists. Use their money to buy the weapons that you're going to use to fucking defeat them, and then don't pay them back. Fuck them. I'm giving that advice to all of my clients because a lot of them are starting to get worried. Take out a second on your house and get whatever you need, and fuck it. They're going to take it from you anyway, and it's going to they're going to kill you, and who cares about debt? Fuck debt. People are like, pay your debt and have what you want to have excellent credit for when the New World Order comes to he has excellent credit. Let's not fuck with. They're not going to give a fuck. Use Satan's money, use his tool against them to defeat him. If you have credit cards right now with balance, because banks are starting to halt that. They're starting to halt issuing credit cards and issuing credit because they can see the collapse coming. Buy whatever you need right now on credit. It's not your money. Use the bank, the Satanist money, and fuck them. Don't pay them back. Who cares? It's going to go down anyway. People are worried about their credit. You want good credit so that when the New World Order... oh, he has the excellent credit. Let's kill him next month, not this month. All the people with good credit get killed next month. Oh my God. Stop paying taxes today. Stop. I haven't paid taxes in 20 years. Come get it, IRS. Come get it. You know my bill. You know my bill. Come get it. Come again. Next time any alphabet agency comes, we're going to fight to the end, my guys, too. Once I give the go, it's going to just be a go. So you're coming for nothing, dumb fuck, because you're going to get a price pretty soon with all the rest of us. So you're going to die a most grotesque way. And even if you even if you kill me, I'm going to be right back. The Lord's going to send me right back, and then I'll be unkillable, motherfucker. And I'm going to feed you your fucking kids on video. You fucking piece of shit. Turn around and start arresting your superiors. U.S. military, bitch-ass U.S. military. What are you going to do? You're going to go fight Russia? No, you're not. You couldn't even beat the Taliban. You ain't going to beat us. I'll tell you that right now. And if the military can't beat us, FBI and CIA, you sure as fucking hell can't. We're going to fuck you up. I'm going to feed you your kids, motherfucker. That's just one thing I'm thinking about. We're going to feed you your kids before you yourself are done, and you motherfucker. You allowed this to happen because you worked for them and you fucking arrested innocent people and killed innocent people. You're going to pay. I think it, and it happens, and I've been thinking that. That's just one of the things I've been thinking for you. Soon I'm going to bring it all out. I'm going to bring out the list of who we're coming for first. Motherfucker. Nevertheless, people, your food supply is dwindling. Use your credit cards if you don't have money. A lot of people are like, I don't have money to buy. Yes, you do. If you have a credit card with 3,000 balance, use it all up. Fuck it. Fuck the bank. You really? You want to pay Satan back? Because you want to have good credit? Yeah, he has excellent. Let me see. Oh, he has excellent credit. 3 credit cards. Okay. Put him in the back of the line. We'll kill him 3 months from now. Fuck that. Fuck these motherfuckers. They've been ripping you off, killing you, and fucking you over. It's time for payback. Stop paying taxes and use all the credit you can. And don't pay it back. It's not going to matter in a couple of months anyway. It's not going to matter. The dollar is collapsing and it's going to collapse. Russia came out and said that you cannot buy their gas or oil without buying rubles. And then Putin is backing the ruble by gold. You know who else did that? Gaddafi and Saddam. And what did it get them? Because the U.S. could kill them. But the U.S. cannot kill Putin because Putin will press the fucking button and then the fucking Satanists will be vaporized with us. And they don't want that. That's not what... they're like, fuck it, we want to kill the ruble, but we don't want to get killed in it. Motherfucker. Stop being in love with this system. Stop it. They're killing your food supply. You need to get ready. Listen to what's coming. They're claiming there's some kind of bullshit bird flu bullshit happening to the chickens, and they're killing chickens in every country. Germany's already talking about they won't be able to produce eggs for the public in about 2 months. How the fuck is that? Because they're all doing it on purpose. Depopulation. The virus didn't work. You need to get your own chickens. You need to get your own vegetables. Get seeds and start planting. Get your plan ready and be prepared. Be prepared. Have your own animals and fuck the fucking authorities. Obama, when he came in, signed 7 executive orders. One of them, and it's in play right now because in a state of emergency, which the U.S. is still in because of this bullshit lying pandemic, all water becomes property of the federal government. That means you can't even collect rainwater or you go to federal prison. Guess what, FBI? I have 5 55-gallon tanks that I've been collecting every time it rains. Come get them. Come get them. They're right here. Come get them, motherfucker. You know where I'm at. Come get them. You want to fight over stupid shit? I'll fucking kill as many of you motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck. Come get them. You do the same. When everybody does it, they can't do shit. And if they show up, shoot. You're going to die anyway. Get, like Mr. Miyagi used to say, get killed anyway. Nevertheless, here's the Ice Age farmer with his report on the food supply.
My friends, welcome. Well, suddenly even the President of the United States is talking about looming food shortages.
With regard to food shortages, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia. It's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well.
Yep, and it's not just Biden. His climate czar, John Kerry, is also talking about how the food production capacity for hundreds of millions of people is about to collapse.
We're already seeing climate refugees around the world. If you think migration has been a problem in Europe from the Syrian war, or even from what we see now, where do you see 100 million people for whom the entire food production capacity has collapsed?
Almost like it's part of the script. Of course it was. Remember the food chain reaction game. Why are they announcing this now? And moreover, what effect do you think it will have when the President of the United States stands up and says, we're running out of food? Naturally, some number of people are going to rush to the store and frantically try and get whatever they can. Now this is not prepping. In fact, it's the opposite of prepping. It means they didn't prepare and now they're freaking out and they're panic buying, which gives retailers the perfect cover story, the perfect excuse for why they will need to institute purchase limits and ultimately food rationing. Food rationing, which, as I'll detail, according to a response to a FOIA request I put into the EU, will be tied to big data systems, meaning it's going to be a digital ID that allows you to buy food. They need perfect data so that they can track this food crisis, is what they told me. And that means that it won't just be you only get 2 chickens every time you go to the store. It will mean, where's your food passport? I mean, the vaccine passport, people didn't really go for it as much as we wanted, but now that we're out of food, everyone is going to be on board with this food passport because you're going to need it to go to the grocery store. That's what they mean when they say big data is our answer to the looming food crisis. Why are they announcing this now? Well, they really had no option, right? As I've been covering, we're at the leap-off point for the food scarcity agenda going forward. You even have farmers in Germany warning that we only have a few weeks of eggs left, according to epochtimes.de here. German egg supply can no longer be secured from the summer, quote, from summer 2022 at the latest. The supply of eggs can no longer be guaranteed. There is an existential fear among farmers because we're no longer able to get soy from Ukraine, and so we're running out of animal feed. And if you can't feed your chickens, we're not going to get eggs. So you see how this is very quickly spiraling out of control. And of course, as nations shut down their exports and try and cling to whatever food they have, it's not just the German Poultry Association that's running out of animal feed. That is merely an exemplar of the complete collapse of modern agriculture as we've known it, and as is currently feeding the vast majority of people on this planet. So I want to talk today about a couple of the latest attacks on that agricultural system, including these forever chemicals, PFAS, which there's suddenly a huge amount of media coverage about. They are shutting down farms across many states because these farms made the terrible mistake of applying biosludge, sewage, from municipalities onto their farms, and they called it organic at the time. It's just a terrible lie that was perpetrated to these organic farmers who, I'm sorry to say, put biosludge on their crops, and sure enough, it's contaminated with these PFAS, which are causing cancer and all sorts of things. So now, suddenly, out of nowhere, they are realizing this, running around, shutting down farms, and that's a further blow to the food system. And also bird flu, which is being detected across the nation. And before I even get into that, let me just say, even here at the outset, that the way this is happening is using PCR tests. So the government is running around giving PCR tests to birds, ginning up these false positives wherever they want, not just in industrial agriculture, but in people's backyard flocks, and then saying, oh, sorry, you've got bird flu here. We have to kill your chickens, and we have to kill chickens from miles around, using those PCR tests to shut down people's backyard flocks. In fact, this is not just in the US. Of course, it's been happening in the EU as well, where it's being described as the worst epidemic ever of its kind to hit Europe. We just can't seem to contain the bird flu epidemic. Try as we might, the PCR tests just keep coming back positive, so we just have to kill a few million more birds. It's complete insanity, and this is the latest weaponization of germ theory to take out our food supply. So I want to talk about that as well, and including a FOIA response I got from the UK government about how they're gassing chickens because, hey, just following orders. That's what our guidelines say to do when there's a bird flu PCR test that comes back positive. In fact, that's why there's no more free-range birds in the UK, because the government forced people to move them all inside. So the attacks are off the charts on the food production right now. It's not Putin and climate change. As this channel has documented for years now, this has been a calculated, systematic attack on farming and ranching and all methods of food production, and telling you that animals are dirty and dangerous and we can't possibly continue animal agriculture. That's why the World Economic Forum wants a post-animal economy, and even that gardens are dangerous, that you shouldn't be able to save seeds. We just saw yesterday Montana's Department of Agriculture say, be careful when you plant seeds. Don't use seeds from your garden or from other people. Make sure to only use licensed dealers and nurseries. Only if you buy it from Monsanto is it safe. Right? You can't save seeds. So they are attacking on all fronts right now, and I will then end this video stepping way back and saying everything we're seeing and all of the pain that this collapse in food production is about to cause may actually be a good thing, to the extent that it is exactly what is needed to wake people up, right? Bread and circuses is how you keep the masses asleep, and they're taking away the bread. So this is our opportunity, just you and me, the 300,000 people subscribed to this channel, and the 100,000 on Telegram at t.me/iceagefarmer. I just crossed both of those milestones yesterday. Thank you for helping grow this channel. You guys give me hope, because if there are hundreds of thousands of people having this conversation, knowing what's going on, that these are deliberate attacks perpetrated on our ability as humans to cultivate our own food, then we can put a stop to this. Then they're not going to get away with it. And if you haven't watched my interview with Dr. Frédéric Leroy about the history of, he's a professor, and he speaks with academic precision to the history of, and the way now it's being executed, this corporate hostile takeover of human food production. So I highly encourage you to check that out. So there is your executive summary. Now let's talk in a little bit more detail about all the things I just enumerated. I'm Christian, and this is the Ice Age Farmer Broadcast. And here from the epochtimes.de, German eggs supply can no longer be secure as of this summer. The German egg industry is speaking of a red alert from summer 22 at the latest. The supply of eggs can no longer be guaranteed. This is just a matter of weeks away from now, ladies and gentlemen. There's a sheer existential fear among farmers because the prices for animal feed have more than doubled in a very short amount of time. GMO-free soy is hard to come by, and so many keepers are no longer restalling. Not restocking these birds means that there are fewer laying hens available to lay eggs, and that means we may not have eggs as soon as a few weeks from now. Quote, "We would love to continue providing people in Germany with eggs, but this now requires the will to make decisions and change on the part of politicians and retailers. A will which, as we've seen, has not been there. They are refusing to change any of the CAP, the Common Agricultural Policy, that was part of the EU's Farm to Fork program, even as they say there's a looming food crisis and we're going to need perfect big data to track it all. So that political willpower is not there because they want this crisis. They need it to bring in the next level of control and digital IDs for food rationing. And moving on to the PFAS. Again, this should be many videos off to its own. There are innumerable family farms being lost right now, being shut down because they're being found as highly toxic. Quote, "I don't know how we'll survive. There are farmers facing ruin in America's forever chemicals crisis." Maine is being covered in this article. It's one of the hotbeds for it. A disaster from PFAS contaminated produce is causing farms to close and farmers to face the loss of their livelihoods. One example, Songbird Farms, who has 17 acres, was struck by disaster in December when the couple learned that the farm's previous owner had used decades ago, this PFAS-tainted sewage sludge or biosolids as fertilizer. Subsequent chemical testing revealed that their soil, drinking water, irrigation water, crops, chickens, and blood, their blood in them as well, were contaminated with high levels of these toxic chemicals. We recalled our products and we shut down our operation, and now we are hosed. This has flipped everything about our lives on its heads. It's devastating, right? Not mincing words here. Now, going on, Maine is hardly alone. Like I said, this is happening across the U.S. right now. They're finding more contamination because they're doing more testing. All sludge contains some level of PFAS, and farms across the United States have increasingly used the substance as fertilizer in recent decades. I don't know how anyone ever was convinced that this was a good idea, but that biosludge contained ridiculous levels of toxic industrial byproducts, and now is being used as an excuse to shut down the farms. They literally salted the land, right? I mean, this is what the Romans did when they took out their enemies. They salted the land to kill off the farms, to kill off food production, so that they would be able to control these populations. That is what has been done to farms across the United States using these forever chemicals. It's exactly salting the land is exactly what's happened. Many other states are going to face what Maine is facing now. I literally saw one article that said, but hey, this is actually, maybe we'll find a way to repurpose these old organic farms as solar farms for our new green renewable future. So a lot of, there's been a slew of media coverage, literally hundreds of articles, even just in the last few days, about these forever chemicals and how they're in everything and we need to regulate them. You've got Democratic congressmen standing up and saying, we really need to regulate forever chemicals. We have to get right on this and cut off their use. That might sound like it's a good idea for farms, and clearly stop putting biosludge on your crops, for crying out loud. But when you look more into why would these Democratic congressmen suddenly be saying we need to regulate these chemicals, well, it's because PFAS are, as you can see here from the American Chemistry Council, an essential part of America's supply chain. So if you promptly regulate these, it is yet another nail in the coffin of the way that things have been working, right? They're pulling the rug out from all of us They're trying, at least. If we all start growing food today, we can ameliorate some of these effects, right? What if they threw an apocalypse and no one came? That's the idea. We still have the power to really move the needle on how this crisis is going to affect us. But this article talks about how if you do this poorly, if you just regulate PFAS and take everything out, then you're going to cause a collapse. Any one of these things we talk about could cause a collapse. And ladies and gentlemen, they're going for all of them. They're going full bore on this agenda right now. Now let's talk briefly, again, there's so much more to that story, and I wish I had time to get into it. Bird flu is another one that's being used to shut down poultry operations across the United States, which is, of course, the world's #1 exporter of poultry, #2 producer. And you can see here, the latest article, this is just yesterday, 570,000 more chickens are going to be destroyed in Nebraska to fight against bird flu. And like I said in the summary up front, all of the tests, you can read, it is the PCR test that is being used for avian influenza detection since the early 2000s. It's for surveillance, outbreaks, and for research. So anytime you read these headlines about, oh, we've got a bird flu outbreak, we think it might be because of these migratory... No, they're just running the same piece. It's the same scam. It's the same faulty PCR test, which the inventor said can't be used for diagnosis. It's being used now to kill off people's chickens. All right, and I put in that FOIA request to the UK, where they unambiguously responded, yeah, we were killing people's chickens. We were walking around Kent using containerized gassing units as our preferred method of depopulating poultry operations. Well, now that's happening in the United States as well, and you can see from the USDA's own site that this is happening. Delaware, Michigan, Maine, New York, Indiana, South Carolina, and on and on. It's not just in the US. All of these press releases, but by the way, briefly, all of these press releases are exactly the same. They just changed the name of the state where it's been detected. And here's what it says. State officials have quarantined the affected premises, and birds on the property will be depopulated to prevent the spread of the disease. It's not just big poultry producers, it's small backyard operations. This is your birds. And I will again emphasize, because I want it to be so abundantly clear, the government is walking around doing faulty PCR tests and killing off your chickens. That's how far we are down this attack on our food supply. I hope I can't make it any clearer. I'm trying. It's not just in the US. We just saw from the UK that they've been doing this for years now. In fact, they're so far gone there that they have pushed all of their chickens indoors because to fight bird flu. Right? You can't keep your chickens outdoors. There are birds up there. They might be dropping avian influenza on there. So you have to put your birds indoors or we'll kill them. And we might kill them anyway if we come by with a PCR test. But for now, there's no such thing as free-range eggs anymore in the UK because they're all inside now. That's how you change food production. Virtually overnight. So it's happening across the EU as well. You can read here about the Netherlands, which has already disposed of 1.5 million chickens, ducks, and turkeys in a vain attempt. That's right, it doesn't work. None of these pandemic measures ever work, but we'll keep killing chickens and doing more PCR tests anyway. We've found more. We're going to kill another 77,000. We just killed 250,000 there and another 200,000 over there. It's really madness. Some media outlets have described this H5N1 situation as, quote, the worst epidemic of its kind ever to hit Europe. One such outbreak of bird flu happened at a Tyson facility in Kentucky, and that was a cause of another 250,000 chickens to be gassed there. You can see here, it says directly, this threatens the U.S. poultry industry. Infections in chickens have triggered more restrictions on U.S. exports. This is critical. Because it's not just that they kill the chickens, it also means that other countries stop importing chickens because they don't want the bird flu to come in. So China stops buying Kentucky chickens, and then China and Korea have limited poultry purchases from Indiana, and all those other states we saw. This was a little bit before some of these other states. So this also puts more stoppage into the global food supply chain, which is in total disarray right now. Birds from the infected flock will be cold. They will not enter the food system. Yep, that protein is gone now. Now, even though this happened at a Tyson plant, didn't affect them at all. In fact, Tyson was more than happy to soar to record highs on the equity market because of the price of meat going up so high. Oh, you thought that money was going back to the farmers. to compensate them for the rapidly increasing price of animal feed? No, Tyson just keeps it. They keep it. Stock of Tyson Foods is soaring 9%, hitting all-time highs, and one of the best performing companies after the company reported blowout earnings thanks to passing on surging food prices. Tyson gets to keep that money, not the farmers. So all of this is why the...
As you can see, your food supply is going to start to dwindle. It's going to go down. Money's going to disappear, so you better start prepping if you haven't already. I don't know why you're waited to the last minute. Remember, ignoring it isn't going to make it go away. If you have kids, you have a responsibility to those children to bring them as far as they can before they get perished. So you must do everything in your power to train yourself. Be prepared with weapons, be prepared with spirit, be prepared with soul, and be prepared with mind. And mind doesn't only mean that you're mentally okay to die. Be smart. I know that everybody can't think the same way. I know that a lot of you came to the game really late. But like I said, the minute my grandma convinced me of who I was, I dove headfirst into this thing. I mean, I was already a military historian because, again, I build models. Look back there. And so I win awards, and I have a YouTube channel for that, and I'm famous in that little genre. I run several Facebook pages on that, and I've won awards at the national level. If the world holds together, maybe one day the Lord will allow me to compete at the World Championships, but I'm not thinking about that. But I've always been a historian of military. And so therefore, I was already very well educated in tactics, very well educated in what weapons could do, very well educated in formations and how they're used and how aircraft is used for air cover and whoever dominates the skies and so forth and so forth. And so I'm constantly thinking of this stuff where the average person isn't, and I understand that. This is why I'm in command. A while back, I was training some of the guys, and they're like, man, I would have never thought about that. Exactly. This is why I'm in command. Because I think of everything, and I've been preparing myself for everything, and I've never served. And the people that we train against, sometimes we go in and play paintball to practice the next best thing to live fire exercises, to being able to shoot someone. And we play with active duty units, and we tear their asses up, and they don't understand how a guy like me, who's never served, knows the tactics, knows. We toy with them. We toy with them. The next clip I'm going to show you is a very good clip of drone footage of a local battle that took place near a bridge and between the Ukrainian forces and the Russian forces. This, and I understand a lot of people go, well, you know, that's great when you're an armchair general and you can analyze everything and where, but several mistakes were made here. And I understand that in the heat of combat, I've been shot at before. I've been in combat before, not for this country, but I've been in combat before. Combat is when you're getting shot at and you fight to stay alive, and I am alive and they're not, and that's all I'm going to say. So anyway, what has to happen is fear has to leave your body completely. You have to understand that. Fight every battle as if you're already dead. And so when the fear leaves, you have the ability to think under what usually should be stress. When I had the shootout in the middle of the street at noon that I've already told about, it was 5-1 on the street against me, and there was more in the car. I got 3. They didn't get me. And it was like if I felt at home there, like if I had done it before. And what I did is I got on a crouch position. I gave them half the target. They were running at me, shooting. They missed. I didn't. The rest is history. I won't get into it again here. Maybe I'll post a video of what happened again some other time. But I wasn't scared. It was like I had done that before, like all my life. This is why I tell you, New World Order, I've been getting ready for you my whole life. I've been waiting for you all my life, studying tactics, training, becoming an expert at weapons, everything. I've been waiting for you. For these precise moments, I do not fear, I revel in it. I'm like a kid at Christmas. The guys can't understand how the whole world's falling apart, and I'm happy and I'm giddy like a 10-year-old kid the night before Christmas. Because soon we're going to get it on, baby. We're going to get it on, and I'm going to show you what you're dealing with in this video. Several mistakes were done in this video. I want you to take a look at the video of the local action. The guy that posted the video specifies with letters who the Ukrainian forces are and who the Russian forces are. Later, I'm going to explain in still photographs with arrows. The yellow arrows will denote Ukrainian forces. Their flag is yellow and blue. And the red arrows will denote Russian forces. They're the Red Army or what have you. Anyway, check this video out. Very good footage. And then I'm going to show you where all the mistakes were made. Now, this footage is excellent. The action that took place was a platoon of 4 Ukrainian BRDM-2s was sent in to recon an area where a couple of artillery pieces were lost. Artillery pieces are towed by soft-skinned trucks, meaning that they're not armored and anything can actually pierce them, from the smallest bullet to even BBs, even pellets. You know, they have canvas backs and canvas covers in the back and all that, and you can see them burning when the BRDMs showed up. And so the Ukrainians sent a platoon. A platoon is 3 to 4 vehicles. It depends on what army that you're in, but they sent in 4 with a squad of mounted infantry to go recon and assess the situation as to what happened to those artillery pieces. What happened was that while they were driving down that main highway, the Russians had sent 2 squads of their own to recon the area. And the Russians were on the side of the road where all of the houses were. The Ukrainians were driving down on the opposite side. And the commander did a good thing. He left 2 BRDMs in reserve way back, and you're going to see in the pictures later. And he sent 2 forward to recon the situation. And what apparently happened was that the Russians were on the side of the populated, densely populated with houses and all of that neighborhood, and they, I guess they spotted the BRDMs coming and they rushed to the ditch next to the road to get a better shot and open fire. The AK-47s and AK-74s that the Russians are using cannot penetrate the armor of the BRDM. It's an armored scout car. And it has a 23 millimeter cannon at the top, and it fires out of the turret there. What happened was that the Russians allowed the BRDMs to get close to their objective, which was the burning truck and the artillery pieces that were laying there at the intersection, and then they opened fire. What happened was, the mistake that was made here was that, and this is not a mistake at first because they have to assess the situation. The infantry was apparently mounted on the outside, so they dismounted and took cover. But it is apparent that after about the first minute of combat, if you're the commander of the Ukrainian forces, you can assess that there are no anti-tank or anti-armor weapons available to the Russians, or they would have been used immediately. An anti-tank weapon is a rocket-propelled grenade, the RPG series for the Russians, and the AT-4 Javelin and in-laws now for the Allies and for the Ukrainians, which are supplied to them by NATO. These things are handheld. You point at the vehicle. If it's an old AT-4 or old RPG, you have to point at the vehicle, and then you have to make sure that you can lead it so that it's kind of firing a rifle but with a rocket-propelled grenade, a big missile. The later ones, the in-law and Javelin and the RPG-37 Vampire, are fire and forget. All you have to do is point the scope at the vehicle, listen for your tone, and then fire, because that means that the missile has locked on to the target. And once you fire, you don't have to look and see if it's going to hit, because 99.9% of the time these weapons are going to hit. So in the first couple of minutes, since none of the vehicles blew up, it is apparent that there are no anti-tank weapons on the field from the force that I'm receiving fire from on the far end of the other side of the road. At that point, the Ukrainian commander, because what happens is a firefight ensues and it's long and they're throwing grenades at each other and the grenades weigh pretty good, so they can't even reach to the other side, so most of them blow up in the middle of the road and do no damage. One of the BRDMs took damage to the tires because it's open tire system, so you're going to take bullets. So what was apparent, what needed to be done here, when the Ukrainian commander started receiving fire after about 1 minute, assessing the situation that there are no anti-tank weapons on the field, he should have commanded his 2 BRDMs that were in the fire, in the combat, in the battle at that point to head towards the center divider of the road. Then he should have commanded the other 2 BRDMs that were in reserve on the other side of that bridge to come to the top of the bridge, giving them a perfect vantage point and 1000% advantage. Once the other 2 BRDMs would have came to the top, and you're going to see the pictures here, all of the arrows that are yellow are the Ukrainian forces. All of the arrows that are red are the Russian forces. Let's look at the first picture of when the battle starts. And you can see the BRDMs come to down the road, and then they get ambushed by the Russians. So when the Ukrainians got into range, the Russians opened fire. The infantry dismounted, the Ukrainian infantry dismounted and headed for the far side of the ditch to take cover, which is the correct response. After about a minute, though, when they were sure that there was no anti-tank weapons available to the Russians, or they would have used them right away, trust me. When you see an armored vehicle and you have the weapon of destroy, you're going to use it right away. You're not going to wait. You want to get rid of the high threat, which is an armored vehicle that is impervious to your bullets, and you want to get rid of it ASAP. When the Ukrainian commander saw that there was no anti-tank weapons, he should have ordered his other 2 BRDMs into action. What happened was that the Ukrainian infantry dismounted, headed for the ditch, and then a firefight ensued. And the Ukrainian commander decided to take the fight to the enemy from the far end of the road, where you're obscured by the center rail and your vision is obscured and your BRDMs are taking fire, which should really not matter from small arms fire. They should be able to withstand it. But if this guy was smart, what he would have done was ordered the other 2 BRDMs up to the top of the bridge, and I'm going to show you in pictures where they should have gone here. But this picture shows where they dismounted, where the Ukrainian forces dismounted to, where the BRDMs are, and where the Russians are as the battle opened up. Now the picture also shows how the Russians made a mistake themselves. You have to remember, the Russians ambushed the BRDMs. That means that the Russians were aware that the BRDMs were there. The Russians were waiting in ambush, and as soon as the BRDMs got into range, the Russians opened fire. The problem with that is that the Russians went all the way to the ditch, away from the buildings. And if you look at the last picture, there are 2 big red arrows where the buildings are. That's where the Russians should have dispersed and started their fight from, because you have the cover of buildings. If the Ukrainians bring an airstrike, you're going to be harder to spot. Out in the ditch, you're actually a sitting duck in an open position, only having cover to the guys in the front of you. Because anything above you, behind you, or to the side of you is going to see you, and then you're going to be vulnerable there. And so that's what exactly happened. When you look at the last picture, and you'll see the 2 big red arrows by the buildings, that's where the Russians should have been fighting. But they exposed themselves and went all the way to the ditch. That's a no-no. This is why urban warfare is the greatest warfare right here in the city. We're going to clobber them because the buildings shield you from airstrikes, from a lot of things that your enemy can't really get a good hold and a good pinpoint of where you're at. And so what the Ukrainian commander should have done in this next picture I'm going to show you, at the minute he found out there were no anti-tank weapons in the field, which would have been like about a minute into the combat, he should have sent the BRDMs to the center rail with the infantry taking cover behind them, advancing towards that rail. Because what happens was each squad, the Russian squad and the Ukrainian squads, were in the ditch. They couldn't really see each other. They were shooting wildly. They knew each other was on the other side, but the center rail obscured their vision, and they were trying to lob grenades at each other, which never made it there. What the Ukrainian commander should have done, after he assessed the situation that there were no anti-tank weapons, he should have sent the BRDMs to the center rail, and you'll see in this next picture by the yellow arrows pointing towards the rail, and then he should have brought his 2 BRDMs that were in reserve to the top of the hill, at the top of that bridge, on the side of the Russians, and then they would have had a vantage point and about a 1,000% advantage. Because what happens is once your BRDMs go to the top of that hill, they've got complete vision of what's in front of them. They're impervious to Russian fire. They're out of range, actually, of the Russian fire, where they can hit the Russians from that range with their 23 millimeter cannon, a rapid fire cannon, out of the turrets. And they would have flushed the Russians out. The Russians would have had to scramble back to the buildings, which is the correct response. You want to fight from the buildings. You don't want to fight in the open and have your men be out there for casualties. Look at this next picture and you'll see the yellow arrows pointing to the BRDMs, pointing to the center rail. This is what I would have done if I was in command after assessing there were no anti-tank weapons. Once the decision would have been made to send the BRDMs and the infantry to the center divider of that highway, first I would have got my reserve BRDMs to the top of the hill on the Russian side of the highway, again where their range is a major vantage point and about 1,000% advantage. They start firing on the Russians cannot reach them. They can reach the Russians now have to disperse because they're wide in the open. The ditch is protecting them from the Ukrainians on the other side, but not from the BRDMs on top of that hill looking straight down at them. And so they would have had to retreat into those houses, which would have been the correct response. But at least you would have got them to scatter. And then you could have assessed that situation and gone out and then even call in some airstrikes or what have you, because the Ukrainians can call in airstrikes. These are the pictures I'm telling you. Again, the yellow arrows are the Ukrainian reserves. The red arrows show where the Russians are. The tiny little arrows are showing the spot where I would have put my BRDMs to open fire on the Russians that were in the ditch down the road. And that would have made them scatter. At that point, when they scattered, they were going to be open season for the infantry and the BRDMs at the center divider there, shooting right at them. They would have been in a tough place because to get away, they would have to break cover from the front, and they were going to get shot in the back, and they were going to get a lot of casualties. Check this picture out. Had the Ukrainian commander followed through with that type of plan, sending his BRDMs, and his infantry to the middle of that center divider and opening fire with the two BRDMs in reserve at the top of that hill, at the top of that bridge, it would have been a whole different story. They would not have incurred casualties, and the Russians would have incurred a lot of casualties. Because once you came to the center divider, the Russians were going to want to get out of there because the two BRDMs at the top of that hill have an open view of them. There's nothing to obscure them, and they would have had to retreat into the buildings, which is the correct response. They should have never left the buildings to begin with. When we fight, we will fight from the buildings. And so I wanted to give you a little insight of what's in here. I'm constantly thinking and looking at tactics. And what would I do here? What would I do here? I've never even served. Yet I go play at the War Game Academy with retired colonels and generals that commanded in Vietnam and Korea and so on. And I kick the living daylights out of them. In war games, we kick the living daylights out of them in scrimmages against their active duty units. And I wanted you to see a little what's in here. Everybody's not going to be the same. I totally get it. You may never have to find yourself to have combat against an armored vehicle. But if you do, don't panic. If you're going to fight, don't panic. You're dead anyway. Death is death is death. Whether it's from COVID, whether it's from a demon, whether it's from a bullet, death is death is death. So you need to have the ability to think under fire. I have that ability. I've always had it, and I've never served. Like I said, when I have the shootouts with these idiots on the street, the cops get all mad. Don't you ever fight. I'm cool, calm, and collected. I know what I'm doing, and I'm willing to die. You must too. Fight every battle as if you're already dead. On the next video, I'm going to show you some more tactics because this video is getting too long and I want to keep it under 2 hours. I'm going to show you more tactics, mistakes that are being made by the citizens of the Ukraine and other forces, so that you can put it in your head, because more likely than not, even if you're in the United States, you're going to find yourself in these situations because it's coming here real quick. Real quick. China, Russia, real quick. Our own fucking bitch-ass satanic government, FBI, CIA. The shootout in Van Nuys, oh man, I would have embarrassed the FBI. And at Waco, I would have embarrassed the FBI. They would have fucking ran like a bunch of bitches. And I wouldn't have left one ATF agent alive. What for? They're going to come back and kill me now. I would have killed them all. Mowed them all down. To give the FBI food for thought. Nevertheless, keep prepping. It could go nuclear. I'm not going to tell you no. These guys want to depopulate the world, and they're already calling for a false flag somewhere. So it's either going to be this bitch-ass satanic government or the NWO, or who knows. Putin might just decide to push the button. We don't know. But you got to prep until that happens, and you got to be ready and have organization and have your things in order. Stop paying taxes. Stop paying your bills. Use that money to buy food, to buy whatever you need. Fuck the banquet. Again, do you want to have good credit for the New World Order so that when they come get you, fuck them. Use the bank's money against them. Buy what you need to fight the New World Order against them. The banks are the New World Order. Nevertheless, I'm working on Symbology 2, Part 2, and I'm trying to get some other software so I can do it, and then Symbology 3. Have sheer utter faith. We knew this was coming. Have sheer, utter faith. Nobody beats the Creator. Nobody. Nobody beats the Creator. I don't care if they blow up a quadrillion megaton bomb. He'll laugh at that. He'll just brush it off like it's nothing. Stay in the faith. Help each other out. And prep. Prep, prep, prep. And if you're going to fight, attack, attack, attack. And when in doubt, attack. That means you, FBI, CIA. Hail, Holy Jesus. Hail, King of Kings. Hail, true God from true God. He's coming back. And this won't take long. God bless.